compare us to Rome. I want us to compare us to England. Our own mother over there has destroyed her own country, and we're doing the same thing. We're following suit. We're allowing Leviathan, which is, in Thomas Hobbes' book, creature that man created that is destroying man, is taking power, and that's what's happening right now in this country. That's got to end.
That could be the eighth beast that they talk about in the Bible.
I'm classified a liberal by most people in our movement, and a lot of people don't like the fact that they view me as a liberal. But here I am as a liberal, and I say that no business, corporate or private, should be taxed. Well, that's a conservative idea, no? Because why do you think that? They don't have an answer about why they think that the businesses shouldn't be taxed. Well, I know why they shouldn't be taxed. Because they can't vote. They have no say in the government. They don't pay for government. What they've
done to us, Lauren, is called divide and conquer. It's the oldest strategy in warfare. And anytime you want to get in an argument, oh, you're a liberal? Well, I'm a conservative. Then no, we're Texans. That's what it should be. The whole Republican Democrat divide and conquer. Keep them fighting amongst each other. Fund both the sides and keep everything in turmoil.
Well, it's a one-party state. It's just got two heads. Because it doesn't matter whether you vote Democrat or Republican. They're going to screw the little man. They're going to screw the mom and pop businesses. Even though they want to get and pretend that they're protecting us, how many people are better off, like Reagan used to say? Nobody. I doubt even the rich people that we call rich, you and I would call rich, are better off today than they were 10 years ago.
What is happening in Los Angeles? We've got tent cities springing up, and they're springing up all around the country. Does Texas have tent cities? Are they starting to?
Yes. Especially in the Houston, Dallas, Austin, the larger areas, yes, we do. And you just find them under the underpasses.
To me, if we went to the farmers and ranchers and said, look, we'd like for you to donate 5 acres over here so we can house some homeless people. We'll set up these teepees or yurts or cabins, small cabins for these people. Teach them to work. If you will teach them how to work a farm and a ranch properly, how to raise range-fed beef, how to raise non-genetically modified crops using heritage seeds, you're teaching a whole new set of people a skill that's the basis of every civilization. And wouldn't that be better? Wouldn't that be better by making these people work for their room and board to improve their whole agriculture, feed people, and keep people healthy? Wouldn't we be a lot better off than letting these people live under tents and under railroad tracks?
Well, no, we all be better off. They'd be better off too.
Right.
Most of these people are just unemployed. They've lost their houses because the banks are stolen them through fraud. It's not like just a bunch of people that, years ago you call it, welfare queens and all that. It's not that way anymore. These people had a job. Some of these people had good jobs, and they've lost everything because of this bankster-run economy. They have destroyed the very nature of life in this country. And you're right. Our president's wife always talks about how can you make Texas free if you're not free yourself? If you can't teach freedom to your own children or at your own kitchen table and demonstrate freedom, how do you expect them to understand what it's going to be or what it is? And she's been on a crusade to start teaching this concept. You don't have to go down to the store for everything. You can grow one of these, 2 or 3 of these items. You slowly start working your way back to freedom. And what you're talking about is in a larger scale the same identical thing, but for masses of people that are going hungry. We don't have to give them food stamps so they can go buy food. Why don't we just give them food?
If we gave them a solar panel and give them let them borrow a tiller to dig up the backyard and plant a garden in their backyard. You can turn a whole neighborhood into where that neighborhood would be feeding the rest of the town, just about.
We still have counties in Texas that are larger than New England and have less than probably 3,000 people in them. Entire counties. They're so poor in those counties that some of the counties can't even afford, separate courthouses. They join together 2 or 3 counties and have a single courthouse. Now, those areas have never been developed as far as I'm concerned. And water is one of the reasons. If we can bring the water to them and start populating those areas, it's just a matter of water. And we're not that far from rivers that one couldn't, a trickle branch couldn't be diverted that way. But what you're talking about is a place, the ground is fertile, rich for growing. And what you're talking about is those Liberty Villages, those are some perfect spots for it. The sun is there constantly, so they have solar energy. People think it's so hot you're going to need air conditioning. Yes, you're going to need air conditioning in that heat. But you don't have to have a compressor-driven air conditioner because you use this Freon. You can go back and have what we had originally in the refrigerators. You have an ammonia-driven one that does not require a compressor. It just requires heat. And heat is something we're not short of in Texas. We've got a lot of heat. You just boil the ammonia and it turns into cold air. It doesn't escape. It's in a tube and it goes through in a pump. It only takes, 12 volts to run the pump, and it can be done by solar. And the solar heat, the solar can either heat the ammonia directly, or it can power enough heat to run it through an electric coil, through electricity. We don't have to have compressors to do this.
I've asked myself when I was designing the whole concept for Liberty Villages, I asked myself, how did we live 100 years ago? How did we live in Texas 100 years ago? I mean, I don't think we did too bad a job. I mean, every farmer had a windmill, every ranch had a windmill and a well, and we did pretty good without the bank, without the government.
I grew up in Texas in the Dallas area, and I can remember all my school years, from grade school through high school. I can never remember as a kid thinking it was hot. We didn't have air conditioning in the schools at all. And we never thought of it as hot. We just thought of it as summer. We had windows and we had fans, but as a kid you didn't think of it as hot. We have been, it reminds me of that movie, They Live, by John Carpenter.
Oh, yeah, with Roddy.
We have been reacclimatized into thinking that we must have air conditioning. You and I will have to have it because we've been reacclimatized to the point we suffer without it. But the next generation can be brought back to normal, not thinking you have to air condition everything. It's nonsense. How did the world make it through 12,000 years without air conditioning?
If you build your homes out of adobe or what they call earth bags, you got enough insulation there. You don't need any air conditioning.
I don't know who built this home, but my son bought one up in near Wichita Falls, and because of the mortgage crisis, he got it at a very good price. But the whole air conditioning, it has no air conditioning at all like we would normally think of. It only pumps air from underground pipes back into his home at 68 degrees. Think about it. It's all nothing but air. A fan pushes the cold air from underground up into his house. And they built the walls with 3 foot wide. They built the house, and then they built a house over it, with the second one being 3 foot away from the first one. So you have 3 foot of dead air space for insulation, which is the best insulation in the world is dead air space.
Right.
And his electric bills are running $60, $70 in the heat of the summer. Not like me here, where ours are running $500 or $600, $700 this month. You know, the technology is there, the knowledge is there, and we've ignored the simple things to allow the corporations to force us into technology we really didn't need. And unlike the Europeans, we think we've got to have the latest gimmick, you know. And these gimmicks are destroying the world, and destroying the ecology, and destroying the environment. And I'm sorry, I like my cell phone, but I don't need every fancy gimmick that they can possibly cram into one. I guess maybe I'm getting older and I can't see those little bitty screens anymore.
Now tell me about this. How is the nationalist movement going? How is it growing? And what do you need? What do you need to do to make it grow even more? Because I think you, in this conversation, in the first half of the conversation here, we agree on pretty much exactly what's going on and the solutions. You know, take back our states, and it's the whole 10th Amendment movement. It's not just Texas. You know, Texas can set a role model for the rest of the states in America. The way America originally was a role model for the rest of the world. We kicked out the New World Order of a day. The sun never sets on the English Empire, and today we're being turned into that empire. So when we're fighting it from within, then we're the radicals. We're the terrorists. We're the potential homegrown terrorists here.
Well, like our President Dan Miller said all the time, for us to grow, we have to do nothing. We sit back and let Congress do it for us. And you think that's an odd statement. But when they passed that debt ceiling, our membership grew by 100 or so people that instantly, overnight. When Obama passed the stimulus package, we grew several hundred members on that one. When Bush gave the baby away in the bailout, we grew by nearly 1,000 on that day. You know, they're doing it for us. People are tired of it. They're tired of the same old thing. You know, let's go for change. All the hope, all audacity of hope. We can do it. That was the Obama message. And I have seen, and the joke here is now is that he's Bush light. He's the same old thing. It's nothing different. You know, he talks a good, he can talk a good talk. He can't deliver. He backs out. He's a coward as far as I'm concerned. The Tea Party, we want a restrained budget. We want to lower, you know, everything that they say we want, they don't perform. They don't do. They do exactly the opposite. I talked to Republican after Republican. I even print a book for, he's a major player in the Republican Party out in Georgia. And I published his book, and he agrees that wholeheartedly the one thing destroying this country is NAFTA.
Well, we warned about that in the Free American 20 years ago. We warned what NAFTA and GATT was going to become. We told you what FEMA was going to become.
Didn't we elect Clinton because he ran against NAFTA? He promised he didn't want it. It was going to hurt us. It was going to destroy us. And what did he do? 2 months into his presidency, he signed it. What did Obama say? We got to renegotiate these NAFTA agreements because it's destroying American industry. It's costing us American jobs. What's he going to do? He's wanting to sign the trade agreements that Bush designed with Colombia and all that mess. You know, what could they possibly have that we need down there? I mean, they got a lot of coke we want, maybe, but what do they actually have that we need to import? That's what they've lost in this whole scenario of free trade. We don't need to import corn. Why would we import corn and export the corn we grow? That makes no sense. We don't need to import stuff we've got here.
Why would farmers in America want to grow corn that rats won't eat?
Well, the purpose of import and export is to get what you cannot grow for yourself. You know, in Texas, we can't grow bananas. And those people down in the Caribbean can't grow corn. So there's a good swap there. That's a fair trade. But I don't need peanut butter from Brazil when I got Texas peanut butter manufacturers going bankrupt.
Now tell me about this.
There's only 10 cents difference.
What are you holding public meetings in Texas? A Texas Nationalist meeting?
Oh yes, we're having every month. They're having what they call a major rally in some major area of Texas. I mean, we're going to Houston, and we're going to Fort Worth, and Dallas, and Tyler, and Austin, and Waco, and these have been up in the planning stages for several months, and they're getting ready to break them open and head out and on the road and do them.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'd like to have a spot speaking at those rallies. I'd like to have a booth there with all of your books and our books, my books, and films. And this rally in Albuquerque wasn't very well attended, but we did all right. We did all right. And
in this economy, you don't expect them to be well attended because gas prices, because of, you know, like me, I will not even get on an airplane. I'm not going to go to the TSA route. It's crap.
I won't. Since 9/11, I haven't flown and won't fly. I'm not taking my boots off for no foreigners. You know, I'm not doing that.
I think people need to understand if they're interested in this kind of movement and what makes a person, what drives a person to seek something that's so thought of as be so outlandish or revolutionary as Texas secession, is to get our president's new book. Dan Miller wrote a book called A Line in the Sand. It explains his motivation that would cause him personally to move in this direction. Why he would swear an oath to himself, not to anything or anybody, but to himself, that I will die making this happen if I have to. Or I will die and it won't have happened. But whatever it is, I will spend the rest of my entire being trying to get Texas free from slavery. And if you read his book, A Line in the Sand, it lays out all the personal choices you have to make and sacrifice a few things. Just realize a dream that is bigger than yourself.
Well, Lauren,
I recommend it to anybody.
I send me that book. Matter of fact, you don't have to send me nothing. I'm going to feature that book. I'll bring Daniel on my show sometime next week to talk about the book. And you know, I've been saying one of the things that for anything to work, for Liberty Villages to work, for anything to work, we all have to work together. I couldn't have done this show. You sent me $500 worth of books that I couldn't have bought. I couldn't have paid you for that to get them. But you sent them to me. I sold every one of them, and I paid you. That's working together. I'm going to put all of your books up on my websites. I've got 4 different websites. I'm going to do that. And I
had to borrow from Peter to pay Paul to do it, and that is a shame in this country.
That's right. And you've got the publishing, you've got the product that I believe in because I helped create that product. You know. So
I believe it, or I wouldn't.
And this next novel that I'm working on is really big. Folks, go to freeamerican.com. We're out of time here. We're out of time. And
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too, and I'll be in touch, and we'll be I'll be working or reworking the website here all this week. Thank you very much. And well, let's see. Let me do this. Let me do this to go out with.
Well, I'm a long, tall Texan.
That's my high school fight song.
Yes, I'm a long, tall Texan. I wear a 10-gallon hat. Ride to Texas, wear the 10-gallon hat. Look at me and they say, oh Lord, is that your hat? Ride to Texas, wear the 10-gallon hat. Well, I'm a long, tall Texan. I ride a big white horse. Ride to Texas on a big white horse. Yes, I'm a long, tall Texan. I ride a big white horse. Ride to Texas on a big white horse. Look at me and they say, oh Lord, is that your horse? He rides to Texas on a big white horse. Well, I was walking down the street with my shiny badge, my first jingle at my feet. change that is free. I seen a man coming with a gun and I just can't be beat. Yes, I'm a lone tall Texan. I enforce justice for the law. We ride from Texas to enforce the law. Well, I'm a lone tall Texan. I enforce justice for the law. We come from Texas to enforce the law. When people look at me and they say, oh law, is you the law? We ride from Texas to enforce the law. Well, I'm a long tall Texan. Yes, I'm a long tall Texan. He's a long tall Texan. Yes, I'm a long tall Texan. Yes, yes. Well, I'm a long tall Texan. Not a big white ass. I ride a big white horse. Yes, sir. A big white horse. Get it up. I ride a big white horse. Yeah. Get it up.
Alright, well, I think I'll just play something else that I don't want that one either.
My brakes are on fire from trying to slow down. I'm always burning my tires and my horn is too loud. I catch people staring, looking funny at me when I step to the window and I talk to TV. Sometimes I get crazy and it makes a big scene, but when I hit 21 I wanna stand up and scream. I'm filthy rich with laughter, I'm too big for the room. You know from 2 stories up, a scene that makes a big boom. It's hard to get around in a 6-foot town when you're 10 feet tall. Everything is so small. I'm always bumping my head, I'm way too long for the bed. Yeah, it's hard to get around in a 6-foot town. Some people live inside a tiny little box. They're preoccupied about mismatching their socks. Well, I've never been one to worry about much. I just wanna laugh and love, I just wanna live it up. But it's hard to get around in a 6-foot town when you're 10 feet tall. Everything is so small. I'm always bumping my head, I'm way too long for the bed. Yeah, it's hard to get around in a 6-foot town. Sometimes I stumble because of my size, but hey y'all, that's alright. That's the way God made me. I am what I am, and I can't do nothing about that. Oh, but it's hard to get around in a 6-foot town when you're 10 feet tall. Everything is so small. I'm always bumping my head, I'm way too long for the bed. Yeah, it's hard to get around. Hard to get around, hard to get around in a 6-foot town when you're 10 feet tall. Everything is so small. I'm always bumping sit around in a 6-foot town. In a 6-foot town. In a 6-foot town. In a 6-foot another day, a cloudless sky, it only lasts till the planes fly by. The trail they leave is cloudy white, they do the same in the dead of night. A sticky, filmy, web-like strand is sometimes left behind. It gently falls on unsuspecting people till they find. It falls upon the farmer's fields, it lights upon their skin. Aluminum and silicon, nanomicrobes soon get in. Yes, it's another day. It's a cloudless sky. It only lasts till the planes fly by. They're not alive. They're not machines. They're nothing like this world has ever seen. They replicate, you don't know they're there, till your skin you.
Get up out of bed, wash your face, brush your teeth, comb, sleep, head. Here's your clothes and your shoes, hear the word, click, click, get up now! Get up and make your bed, are you hot, are you cold, are you wearing that? Where's your books and your lunch and your homework, and for your coat and your gloves and your scarf and hat, don't forget! You gotta read the Cat Express, it's for talent, it's the most important meal of all. Take vitamins so you will grow up one day to be big and tall. You remember the old McDonald's will be seeing you every Tuesday. Don't forget your piano lesson in the afternoon, so you must play no trouble. Too slowly, but hurry, the bus is here, be careful! Come back here! Did you wash behind your ear? When like up we rock, would you just play fair? Be polite, take a break, don't forget to share. Working out, we turn, never take, get along. The make it come down there, so you won't watch one, put stuff away, get your bed, you're down, do we have all day? Were you born in a barn, would you like some hay? Can you even hear a word I say? Don't get off the phone, just sit so close, turn it down, no texting in the table. Computer, that's your night, your iPod, my iPod, if you don't listen up. Where you going in with whom and what time do you think you're coming home? Say thank you, please, excuse me, makes you welcome everywhere you run. You'll appreciate my wisdom someday when you're older and you're grown. Can't wait to have a couple little children of your own. You'll thank me for counsel I gave you so willingly, but right now I'll thank you. Not to roll your eyes at me, close your mouth when you chew, would appreciate. Take a bite, take a chew, with the stuff you hate. You're working up for a late, you street, eat the food. I put upon your plate, get an egg at the door, let me start with me, get a root, get in here, I'll have the three, get a job, get a life, get a PhD, get a job.